Hello to all. I want to welcome you to a discussion of the role of meditation and contemplation and wellness. It's a pretty common topic. My experience with patients dealing with this over 30 plus years is that unless you're pre-sold, it's hard to get interested in it. Everybody sees it in some kind of, it's esoteric or exotic or bizarre. That's how most people hear it. And that's the point of this discussion, to help people who aren't seeing it as useful to recognize, one, its value. It's probably the most important single element in being well, or optimally well. And it is an area that most people have some confusion about. So what we're going to do is talk about that. I'm going to lay out the intellectual argument and then give some very simple ideas about what are examples of ways to meditate. We will have a second one specifically on the techniques of meditation and contemplation. Anyway, I hope you find this helpful or useful or fun. And thank you very much for listening. Hello, meditation, science, and you. Today's goals for this town hall is going to be one limited by the why. We'll get to the how at a later presentation. The why. The how will be later. Over 30 years, I've learned the major barriers to the use of meditation and contemplation, or at least the barriers I've seen in my patients. Another goal is to demystify the role of meditation and contemplation in health. Three is to take the esoteric vocabulary of meditation and contemplation and replace it with ordinary language without losing meaning and purpose. To make firm and clear, and boy, people, please learn this, that absent a regular meditation, contemplation discipline, it is impossible to achieve optimal health goals. I will also hope to illustrate how absent these disciplines, we will always make counterproductive, destructive health choices. And of course, that's why the prior sentence is also true. Demystifying meditation. Couched in religious or traditional spiritual garb, meditation contemplation seems remote to modern technological man. That'd be everyone hearing my voice. Terms like transcendent, mysticism, higher consciousness, enlightenment, metaphysics, or even Buddha consciousness come to modern ears contaminated with enlightenment disdain. Yet there is life-giving change hidden in ancient mystical practices. All right. Free esoteric terms of their cultural baggage and express their reference, that is the thing to which they're supposed to refer, as simple, usable terms. The current modern medical term used to sidestep the exotic is mindfulness. This is a transparent attempt to import useful behavior into benign, even banal terminology. It is inadequate to the purpose. Evidence to this is that most mindfulness practitioners couch the term within typically a Buddhist metaphysics. That's been my experience too, is people usually have heard it in that context. In order to successfully do this, you must do some intellectual work. Now, I emphasize that because at one point when I gave this talk, everybody said there was too much philosophy and too much difficulty, but you guys are capable of this, so let's do the work together. Atheist, deist, pantheist, all have access to Albert Camus' discovery. Quote, "In the midst of winter, I found there was within me an invincible summer." What is this invincible summer? The burning bush to Moses' question of who are you? I am that I am. This is either nonsense or it's telling us something, and it is telling us something. It's telling us that being is the invincible summer. Got to step back and think about this a minute. How do we get to, we're talking about one thing and we wind up with invincible summer. Let's step back and note that to assert that such an invincible summer exists posits something very specific about being, about reality, that it is structured to good, to things being better. It rejects Descartes' idea of the evil demon that is playing fast and maliciously loose with the laws of the universe and our experience of it. So now you must choose, and this is the work you've got to do in your thoughts, in your heart, in some sense. Forgive me that. Is there an evil demon afoot, or is there available to all, and invincible summer. If you choose the latter, then how do you access that invincible summer to perfect your life and days? Put another way, how does one choose to sleep soundly, eat wisely, and exercise efficiently and effectively? The primal, notice the caps, the primal barrier to wise choices is the Skinnerian conditioned response we all carry around in our heads. The training of our past, our families of origin, the miscues of life to correct our choices. A suppressed premise in all meditation contemplation practices is the belief that the universe is in constant communication with us at the conscious and unconscious level. If it is a benevolent place indwelt with being, even if it is an indifferent place of indwelt being, its laws, physics for example, and promptings of order, suffering, death, and love are available to us if we know how to listen, be that scientific experiments or our own sense of peace leading to love of self and others. Why would we simply eat that ice cream rather than choose to be trim, strong, and happy? Yet we often do just that. We stare at the bowl of ice cream and say, ice cream or no ice cream. We don't say with any conviction, and certainly with no regularity, and believe me, I know this as a doc working with people, I'd rather be healthy than eat that ice cream. We don't because the narrative, the script we carry around is not ours, but rather that of the conditioned monkey between our ears shouting, ice cream, ice cream, ice cream. I know this last paragraph sounds like a disjunction, but it's an illustration of these variables that control our behavior. At peace with the being of invincible summer, we calmly choose the better way. How do we access being? Here is where meditation and contemplation come to our rescue. The medical scientific literature is rife with proof that practitioners of prayer, meditation, contemplation, Tai Chi, and other techniques experience lower blood pressure, fewer adverse cardiovascular events, a lower incidence of many cancers, less depression, less ambient anxiety, and improved mood and hopefulness. That's quite a list. And it's not from some bizarre, inaccessible, esoteric religious practice. It's available to all of us. Those benefits are just part of the list. But this is something to help you think about it again. An overly reductionist mechanism for these benefits is that their effects on adrenaline, cortisol, and serotonin account for the benefit. Meditation contemplation also improve the deeper diurnal drivers of rest, sleep, and contentment. Reductionist accounts miss the greater benefits of an improved sense of well-being and more balanced behavior around eating, exercise, and relationships. All these benefits are from simply quieting the operantly conditioned monkey brain we all have. Do not despise that monkey brain. It has successfully got you here and now, but it is time to outgrow it. How do meditation and contemplation differ? Both involve some simple external markers. Rhythm, rhythm, movement, breathing, and interior silence. Rhythm as simply as breath, movement even as little as the diaphragm, breathing, regular and deep. Do not get lost in the intricacies of various breathing patterns yet. Interior silence, yes. They differ in an important way. Meditation involves thought or idea to be held before the mind's eye. Contemplation involves usually the negative way, that is, an empty mind. Be careful not to get lost in the formal negative way. I'm using that term in contradistinction to meditation. I happen to be kind of more prone to meditation. I have a particular image that gives me peace when I stare at it in my mind, but there's differences, including Tai Chi, Qigong, all these, again, rhythm, movement, breathing, and interior silence. Is that like mindfulness? Both can lead to the simple mindfulness as currently in fashion. Being aware in perfect, unforced, and effortless knowing. We can almost feel it. To go farther than most people experience mindfulness, you will need to inculcate and practice. It's a discipline. Inculcate and practice the belief that it matters. It's not a tool that you take out when you need some stress release. It has to be part of your life and your own personal rhythms. Timeless knowledge. Note bene. The genesis of unproductive behavior is sometimes assumed to be from genuine childhood trauma. It certainly can be. But it is also just a product of a busy transition. We all have lived through this, from childhood to adolescence to young adulthood to adulthood, from one school to another college to a graduate program to a busy job. That is a rushed experience of existence. Here is the use of Socrates' utterance, an unexamined life is not worth living. I remember as a young man when I first heard that term, I thought, oh boy, it's all this, it's like going to a psychiatrist and unpacking your every memory. But that's not what it's about. It's about this almost mystical, as a matter of fact, it's a very mystical claim that there's a place of silence where you can experience your life. It is time to use Ram Dass's concise phrase to be here now. Baby steps. The available depths of meditation and contemplation are far beyond our goals for today. Even for those who are adepts, I often find a shaky understanding of how foundational being is to life, consciousness, peace, and hope. I've had devout Catholic priests, devout Buddhist monks, devout Hindus in my practice, and noticed how much work in this area even they seem to need. They would agree, by the way, I'm not talking out of school or behind their backs. Baby steps, remember that. Lay down, relax, body scan, 10 minutes a day. Now what you're inculcating, notice rhythm, movement, breathing, and interior silence, the rhythm of your breath, the movement of your abdomen as you breathe, okay? Rhythm, movement, breathing. So then you notice that too, the breathing associated with the rhythmic movement of your abdomen and chest. Interior silence. That's a little bit where the body scan comes from. Body scanning is not some tricorder from Star Trek. It's laying there, calming your breathing, and noticing your toes, your feet, your ankle, your calves, your knee, your thigh, your hips. In other words, you're moving, you're scanning in your mind through the body. And that directed attention, where you think of those different parts of your body, has almost a direct electromechanical effect. In other words, it changes the nerve signaling in the brain and in those feet in such a way that they can relax. You, in fact, do have the ability to will that relaxation. And by this focused contemplation of your body as you go through the scan, you then begin to quiet the whole body, and the mind follows. It's simple, but it has to be a regular discipline. We'll go into more details. I will tell you, it's been my experience that most patients haven't had good luck with the relaxation apps. There is some kind of directed contemplation that some people find helps them get to sleep. But noticing being taught to sleep is not the same thing as having corrected your own diurnal urges. Those rhythmic changes of the day, the hormones as they change towards evening, it doesn't quite take care of that. This is an example where focusing on an element of this whole picture doesn't help you ever put together the whole picture. So try to think of this as an awareness of being, and in that awareness of being, you can tell your deep needs, desires, and capacities in a way different than the script that chattering monkey in your brain is telling you about. I've often noticed when patients under stress, they start talking, what in point of fact is a literal script. And you know, under stress, they'll say those same things in the same way. So we want to escape that. So that's enough for today. Next time we will talk about other more advanced forms, or how to access more advanced forms of meditation and contemplation. It's been a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you for listening.